Hello everyone, Kevvl here once again, showing you that everyone really hates Kirby. Of course, I don't really blame them. Aside from the mass murder, he also seems to blow up a lot of things and destroy huge sections of land. Anyway, it's time for episode 3, Butter Building. Why anyone would commission a butter building is beyond me. Aside from the high-fat content, it really just seems like something that wouldn't stay up on its own. And yet still, inside of the butter building, there are stones, which of course we can use to kill Mr. TikTok again. The alarm clock that likes to hit me in the face. I'm wondering why Dreamland has an inhabitant that's Mr. Alarm Clock, because thinking logically, an alarm clock would utterly destroy the universe by waking up everything. And Kirby is still a terrible singer. Gigantic button up there, which we can get by going through this door after more senseless destruction of property. And then we go back right through the area we came, which is kind of pointless. If only this game were 3D, that way we just go around the building. Almost a 2, or 1. We could go into the arena, but all that's in there is a grand wheelie, so we don't really need to worry about that right now. Instead, let's just commit more mass murder. Really makes me wonder, King DDD is obviously the king of Dreamland, and thinking about it, with all the killing he's doing, isn't Kirby the villain of this game? I mean, the king's just protecting his people from this evil pink blob that eats everyone. It's like that 1950s horror movie, except with stars and fluff. I mean, Kirby's not exactly the most honorable fighter, and as far as I can tell, he's not really saving anyone yet. In fact, most incarnations of Kirby is really just him trying to get some sort of food and killing everything in his path on the way to go for it. Gonna go in here where we will fight a grand wheelie. Another reason why the arena was kinda useless. Bring it on, I'll slash your tires. Whoops. But one more hit and he's down. As one might expect, the wheelies that the Grand Wheelie drops won't give you the wheel power-up. Wonder what kind of rubber Kirby's wheel is made out of to not die from spikes. Because most wheels would. Bit of ice here, not to be confused with chill. Similar, but not the same. And we're not getting that Maxim tomato, but we might get that one up. Aha, there we go. And now Bugsy. A creature so fiendish that it will die before it gets a chance to hit us more than once. It's the thought that counts. And more jumping, this time with a 1-up involved. Nice. Kirby, the only creature that's lightweight enough to actually fly into space using a trampoline. Whoopsies. Do want that. This here's the backdrop. An extremely powerful weapon. Mostly in the sense that you can slam your enemies into the ground with it. I suppose, what else could it be with a name like Backdrop? Great for more senseless murder, except this time with a wrestling feel to it. Whoops. Definitely want to keep this one. And the spike power-up, which is still utterly useless, so I'm really not going to try and ever get it. I mean, if I can help it, I don't need it. I do, however, want that Maxim tomato in there. Oops. You know Kirby, just casually walking into someone's building and stealing their tomatoes. And eating their swords. Again, almost a 1, but still not quite. The museum over there just has a high jump, and we don't really need that. Makes me wonder about the ethics of Dreamland, that people are put on display in museums for other people to eat. This is a twisted community, I tell ya. And speaking of twisted community, Meta Knight is back with his Meta Knights to kill themselves. As it turns out, I did a bit of research, and Meta Knight is actually just training Kirby in doing so. But, his methods are kinda not good. I mean, how many soldiers is he willing to just sacrifice for the purpose of nothing? Shucks, he even throws the Hyper Lollipop, and then his soldiers. So, it's like he's got billions of them, and they're all cannon fodder. Oops. Do want that 1-up. And that Maxim tomato. And to actually go into that door. 2,000, not bad. And now for a game that I'm actually not very good at. Quick Draw! Basically, once you see the signal, press the button, and you'll shoot something. The earlier ones are extremely easy, and you can just kind of wait for them. The later ones require actual reactions. Naturally, since this is a kids game, there is no violence, simply explosion of hats. Somehow they managed to do the same thing in Kirby Superstar, where people used guns instead, and that was a foul. Sorry, they didn't use guns instead, they used swords instead, and still managed to have no violence. Don't know how they managed to do that, but I guess if 4 kids can do it, then Kirby can do it. Whoops, another foul. Still got a 1-up, and I can never beat DDD anyway, so no harm done. Also, thatched cacti. In other news, random Hyper Lollipop. Who just leaves these things around? I mean, imagine if one of the enemies got a hold of these and just killed Kirby with it. Useless Hyper Lollipop, I might add. Interesting note, if you are in Hyper Mode and also use Freeze on something, the ice cube that's generated will be flashing the same colors as Kirby, which I find very odd. It must mean that the ice simply uses the same color palette that Kirby does. Which makes sense, because back in the olden days, the 8-bit video games could only really hold about 4 colors at the same time. I think 6 colors on the screen at the same time. That's why everything's just different shades of the same color. And the hammer power-up. Not quite as graceful as sword, but still nice. And it can break through those little wooden stakes, giving us full health and a 1-up. Alright! Another 1-up! Don't mind if I do. That also says something about Kirby's duplication ability. Can he only duplicate when he's dancing? That's kind of silly. Oh, not gonna get the laser beam. Of course, why would you need the laser beam when you're just bombarded with crash bombs in this area? Don't need anything else. This part of the butter building is actually made out of wood, in case you were wondering. And that toad there is called Sir Slippy. A Star Fox reference before Star Fox existed? Could be. Also, physics-defying building. Make sure you stay on the top over here, otherwise you will get trapped behind that. And button. Which completely destroys another section of the area. Here the area is shrouded in darkness, which obviously makes things harder to see, and gives us the light power-up. Only useful in, like, 2 areas that look like this. Thankfully, it's also very rare. You're not gonna find, those enemies cool spook anywhere where they're actually not needed. And up and out. And now it's time for a quick game of Egg Catcher. Hopefully I'll manage to not hit a bomb this time, and get as many eggs as possible. Or I could be a total sadist and completely grab every egg and then the last bomb. Or not. Perfect. However, despite however many eggs are on the side there, it looks to be about 30 of them. Kirby only spits out about 10 chicks, so yeah. Let's just hope and assume the other ones were duds. Not gonna need this power-up, but I might as well save it. To kill Mr. Moon with. Perfect! And now we have to kill Mr. Sun. I believe their actual names are Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright. You can only kill one using the other. And it's only 3 hits to do so. So they're actually not too difficult. And then they crash into each other because that's how astrology works. Oh, too high, can't jump for it. Alright then. Okay, until next time, this is Kevvl, signing off. Ciao.